Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is Season 5 of Pero Let Me Tell You. Hello.
Hey, everyone.
Hi everyone. So are we just going to start off and
I think it's best to pull the Band-Aid off.
give the news?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, let's welcome everybody
Welcome,
to the
everyone.
show.
Yes, this is episode 197.
197. And, so happy Friday, everyone.
Happy Pero Friday.
Happy Pero Friday. So, in 197 episodes
And change, yeah.
we've, as we've said many times, we've come to think of all you listeners as sort of, what do we call them? Extended family? Pero primos.
Pero primos, yeah.
Pero primos.
Yeah.
And, we're always about, releasing new content because throughout the years, you guys have told us how much you enjoy the show and you enjoy listening to us. So,
And you guys know us enough to know that sometimes it's not that easy
Right.
to do this on a weekly basis.
So, I think part of being our Pero Primos is that
we're honest.
we're honest and we want to be transparent
Absolutely.
with everyone. So we just want to start off this episode by saying that we have decided that we're going to conclude the podcast.
Yeah.
Making this podcast has been a dream and it's opened up amazing opportunities. Just last week we were interviewing
Gina Torres,
which was
Who would've thought?
amazing, and she was our my dream guest. Well, our dream guest.
Yeah.
And she was just great, and so many opportunities have been afforded to us because of the podcast. But the truth is that this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
For both of us, a lot of it, especially for Ish. I have a lot of personal responsibilities and professional
Just coordinating
responsibilities.
a lot of
I have about
times
35,000 things going on in about 3 days.
That's a slow week for you.
Right. Like, sometimes it's like, I have about 25 hours worth of work in one day. So
Right.
somehow we're going to pull it off. So, we didn't want the content to suffer.
No,
because
it's not fair.
We don't want the show to jump the shark.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
So we've decided that the best thing is
Quit while we're ahead.
to quit while we're ahead. We've produced 5 seasons
Yep.
and almost 200 episodes.
Many hours of content.
And I think that, we owe it to you guys to be honest and let you know that we are ending the podcast.
Yeah. And I what I think is especially true is that I think you guys know us well enough to know that this is, an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, people! Happy April Fool's
Happy
Day!
April Fool's. Pero Friday was April 1st.
Pero Friday. I was like, how long are we going to keep this?
Right?
Because when you started talking, I'm like, all right, how long are you going to go more? I'm like...
I was like, well, it's been like a minute and change. We have to
we listen to a lot of, a lot of our listeners are in their cars.
I don't want to be responsible for an accident.
Yes.
Right.
So that was good. Oh, yeah, even I believed it for a while.
For a minute there, I was like, wait, what's happening?
Although, I have to say, April Fool's Day is not the same thing in Spanish.
No.
But in Spanish, it's Día de los Inocentes, which I'm not even sure what day it is.
Oh my God, it is a different day.
Let's
It is a
Google
different
it.
day. We
It's
should
not
Google
April
it.
Fool's
We
Day.
should Google it. But I love that in Spanish, it's like, the day of the innocents.
Día de los Inocentes.
Because in Spanish, when you're done robbing illusions,
Right.
you're no longer innocent.
Día de los Inocentes. Let's look it up. No, Jacques de Innocence.
I don't think that's what we were looking for. No.
That's of Día de... That's
El día de la... Is
de
it
los
el,
Inocentes.
de los Inocentes.
December 28th? No, the day of the Holy... Okay, no.
We'll get back to you.
¿Cuál es el Día de los Inocentes en México? Okay, well, we're not sure.
But we know it's different.
Yes.
We do
Is
know
it
it's
even
different.
on a Tuesday?
Well, I don't know if it's a set day.
So...
It might be like un 15 de septiembre or something.
So, April Fool's Day. Happy
April
Pero Friday. Okay.
You're not getting rid of us that easy.
You're not getting rid of the studies. And also, I feel that if we ever do decide to conclude the podcast, there's going to be a little bit more like notice.
Yeah. It's not going to be like, well, guess what?
Guess what? This
Politeness
is our
week
last
is over.
episode, right? I'll be like, okay, we've decided that this is going to be the last season, blah, blah, blah.
We'll end on a nice round number.
Yes.
Right.
Oh,
Not 197.
Yes. No.
So close to 200.
That's like when a show ends on an odd number season, like
I know
season
it bothers
5.
You. I know it really bothers you.
It really bothers me. Like, I'm very OCD about that. I'm like, no, it has to end in an even number.
Like, I think that even if we did decide to end it, you and I would literally just sit here and record 3 episodes just to knock it out, just so we get to 200.
No, yes.
We've come this far.
I couldn't be like, what? Or we'll have bottle episodes, what they call them, sitcoms.
Yes.
So, that was pretty good.
That was good.
That was good. So, how is everybody?
I think everybody is good. And, I think, although at this point it's Friday, I know it's a little late in the game, but I think, we have to talk about something that I know is on all of our listeners' minds right now.
What is better? Guayaba en mermelada, guayaba en caquito, or guayaba in the paste?
Well, caquito is obviously the answer.
You know what? I love guava, and I love guava flavored things. I have never had un caquito de guayaba.
Con queso crema.
Never.
Well, that's what we're doing for our 200th.
Well, I mean, I had coffee for the first time on
Exactly.
here.
So we'll do this one.
I mean, it's one of these things that I haven't had it because I just haven't had it.
It just hasn't happened.
Because I love guava, right?
Yeah, you're not opposed to the idea.
No,
It just hasn't happened.
I preferred guava in other forms.
Okay.
But then again, that's very consistent with what are the things I've never done. I've never played pool.
You've never had peanut butter.
I've never had a peanut butter and
jelly sandwich. That's right.
And I've never had a meatball sub. And at this point in the game, I'm just not going to.
I can't with you.
I love when I've told you when I tell people like, oh, I've never played pool, and they're like, oh my god, we gotta play pool, like let's go play pool now. I'm like, dude, I haven't played pool in 40 plus years. Do you think I'm gonna start now?
Right, you're gonna be the one that makes me.
Right, you are gonna make me play
random
pool.
person.
It's like at this point in time, I don't want to play.
If I couldn't make it happen, good luck.
It's like a thing, right? Like I'm not gonna play pool.
That's true. Yeah, at this point, you just can't do it.
Why am I gonna do it? Like now,
true.
The story of me not playing pool is better than if I started playing pool.
Yeah, it would almost seem like you gave up.
Right.
Yeah.
And again, it's not that I hate pool. It's not.
You don't have any feelings about it one way or the other.
Exactly.
You're so ambivalent. Yeah.
You know what? Because obviously I've been in a setting where people have gone to play pool.
Well, you've been in pool. I don't want to say a pool hall, but you've been at like an arcade or
yes.
Yeah.
I think maybe I don't know. I can't remember you playing pool, but I'm sure you played pool somewhere around me.
At a bar or something.
Right.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And I've never been like, I'm going to play pool today. No me llama la atención. It doesn't call my attention.
Does not call your attention.
No me llama la atención. I'm like, whatever.
But that's good because
I'll have a snack.
Then it'll never rob your illusion if it doesn't call your attention.
That's like I don't really get that magic 8-ball thing. Like I'm like, what's up with that?
Oh, that's just that's just a silly thing.
I
mean, I'm saying it's not. I feel like pool is a bigger thing than the magic 8-ball.
Well, yes, but the magic 8-ball comes from pool. It's a magic 8-ball.
Yeah. I just never associate them. Like, yes, you're right, but I never associate them.
How can you not?
Well, because when I'm playing pool, I'm not asking the pool table questions about my future.
I guess. I know, but no. It's like, no. But air hockey is another story.
That is fun.
Do you remember the time we were kicked out of the arcade in Violent Adventure playing air hockey?
Yeah.
People, like, I get really violent playing air hockey. Like, I will, like...
I don't know if he's allowed back.
I would, like, You know what's funny? I don't know, listeners, if many of you are like this. I claim to not... In my mind, I'm not competitive.
Oh, that's cute you think that.
Right?
It's adorable you think that.
In my mind, I'm like, no, I'm not competitive. I want everybody to win.
You're
Monica Geller.
You're oddly competitive. Because there are things that when you lose, you're like, whatever, I don't care. But then there's like random ass things like air hockey where you're like, I will kill you and feast on your corpse.
I will.
Yeah.
So some years ago, we were at Islands of Adventure in the arcade. I don't even know if it's still there, next to Dr. Doom's.
I think it might still
whatever
be the free fall of terror or whatever.
And we started playing air hockey, and it got so violent, and I was just so about to rip everybody's heads off that the guy or whatever from there was like, "Listen, you need to like tone it down or like get out." And I was like, "I will cut you too."
When the attendants from a Doctor Doom ride, Doctor Doom being a villain, one of the main villains of Marvel, tells you you're a little out of control, it's time to
like
really
one time I wasn't with you. One time at Sluggers, the batting cages in Tamiami Park, I got a phase many years ago that I would go to the batting cages a lot. Like one day the guy told me, he's like, because I used to do because I hadn't done batting cages in a while, so I started with the softball.
Okay.
I was like, let me start with softball.
Claro, yeah.
And I broke like 2 softballs.
Are you kidding?
And the guy's like, you need to like calm down.
How much rage did you have?
Yeah, a lot, apparently.
Clearly.
Oh my God, if I go now,
Oh no. Oh no, people might die.
that thing might catch fire.
There's not amount of safety netting that can help anyone.
And then I'll come out and be like, I'm not competitive. I want
At all.
everybody to win.
But you know what? You cling to that. You cling to that
Not being
belief.
competitive.
Yeah, you cling to that thought. You enjoy it.
Oh, what were you going to say though? Before
No, what I was going to say is that, we have to talk about the fact of what happened last weekend, last Sunday on Oscar Sunday. And what we really do have to talk about, which I know our listeners are in awe about, just the fact that it happened, is how right we were about the temperature at the Dolby Theater.
Oh my God. Okay, listeners. Okay, obviously we're going to talk about Will Smith and Chris Rock and all that. But, okay. So do you listeners, do you remember last week? It was last week.
It was literally the Friday before.
We were talking. I said something along the lines. I forgot why I said it.
I think we were talking about how cold it is in your house.
Right. And I said something along the lines that at the Dolby Theater, where the Oscars are at, it seems like it's very cold in
It would
there.
have to be.
That it has a very powerful air conditioner.
Because a lot of the lights and all
Right. And I'm like, oh, it's probably really cold in there. And Ish said something along the lines.
But I don't think it's that cold because you can't have like Nicole Kidman ahí titiriteando, you know?
Right. And you were saying something about like she looks friolenta.
She does look friolenta.
And this is on tape. Like you can go,
Go
to
back.
last week's episode.
196.
That he was like, oh, she looks friolenta. Well, fast forward to this past Sunday. Forget Will and Jada and Chris Rock. When I saw that Nicole Kidman was wearing Keith Urban's, her husband's jacket, I pause it and I call this guy. And I'm like, did you just see what I saw? And he's like, what? And I'm like, Nicole Kidman was wearing her husband's jacket. Del frío que tenía. And I was like, how did we do that? Like,
¿Tú ves? Yo te dije, Nicole Kidman es friolenta. You can tell.
if Nicole Kidman comes to my house, que se prepare.
Oh, no,
Well,
she's gonna-
thankfully, I have throws, to give to everybody.
That's true. Do we have any throws that Nicole would enjoy?
I'm sure I have some in the vault.
I wonder what throws she probably wears when she goes to the AMC theaters.
But that was, when I saw that, I'm like, how did we do that? Because so many times, like, we joke around.
Like with the naming of Marlon's stadium. Then it
yes.
happened. Like, I mean, it wasn't Hoopinha Stadium,
Right,
but
a couple of months back, we were saying that Marlins Park here in Miami,
talking about the naming rights.
We were like, why don't they call it Hoopinha Stadium? Listeners, do you remember that we were laughing at how, like, in other states, they'll be like, Hoopinha.
Right.
Hoopinha
No, on
Stadium.
ESPN, when they
Hoopinha
have
Park.
Yeah.
And then literally, like 4 days later, they
Lone
sell
Depot Park.
Lone Depot Park. Like, they sold the naming rights. But the Nicole Kidman thing was like epic. Because that was so random that we said that,
all
right?
the celebrities to
That was
pick.
just us, you and I talking mierda.
Yeah, oh,
right?
for sure.
And then there was Nicole Kidman. Mira que say that when I first saw it, I go, well, maybe she's wearing like a dress with like a blazer.
Oh, okay, like a Celine Dion type of situation.
Kind of thing,
right.
Or like Kristen Stewart was wearing like a tux.
Beda.
I go, maybe she's wearing like a tux top. But then I'm like, no, Keith Urban is not wearing his jacket. She's wearing Keith Urban's jacket.
Yeah, and she was wearing it over her shoulders.
Right. Porque friolenta.
Friolenta.
Porque hay mucho frío en el Dolby Theater.
So we were right on both counts.
How we did that, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But we were both right.
We were both right. That's what I'm saying.
That looks like a place that has a lot of air conditioning.
Right, very powerful.
Yes.
Very powerful vents.
Yes. It's about 25 million BTUs.
Yes, as Nicole would attest.
Oh my God, I remember that's so funny. Before we had central air in my parents' house, and we would have the individual airs in each room.
Oh, yeah.
My parents, no tiene que ser de 8,000 BTU. And I'm like, what the hell is un BTU? Like,
What is BTUs?
I'm not sure.
Well, the U is units. That much I do know.
Ton. I want to say the
Butane
T is ton.
No, butane. That doesn't sound right.
What does BTU mean? What does BTU mean? Let's live Google.
Let's do this. Because I know the U is units.
British Thermal Unit. The BTU is short for British Thermal Unit, a unit of measurement that shows just how much energy your air conditioner uses to remove heat from your home.
Why is it British?
BTU means British Thermal Unit.
Did this originate with T?
It may seem overly technical, but BTU is an important metric that can help you determine the kind of air conditioner you need for your home. I
Acabamos
had
de
no
aprender.
idea. this is the learn part of the
definitely
of the podcast.
Yes.
BTU means
British Thermal Unit.
Oh my God!
Who knew?
Listeners, did you know?
I mean, probably our listeners in the UK did.
Right. Or our very good friend that we went to high school with that's like an air conditioner.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I'm sure
he
what
knows
it
a
means.
BT. Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
He had to learn it.
Yeah.
For certification purposes.
So we were on point. So
we were. Well, we could not have been on point about
Will Smith.
was Will Smith and Chris Rock.
So it's so funny because, I mean, obviously, when that happened, I knew we were going to talk about it because this is sort of how we live our lives now. When things happen, we're like, oh, well, we're clearly talking about that on the podcast. And although we're late to the party because our show does come out on Friday, sometimes it works in our favor, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, you take
so by the time you're hearing this, listeners,
you're probably tired of hearing about it.
Everybody and their mother has given an opinion about Will Smith.
There's probably a thesis paper out there somewhere.
Right. There's already probably a TED Talk about it. And it already has like 50 million views. Welcome to our TED Talk.
That'd be great. The TED Talk's done by Tatiana Ali.
Oh, yeah, that would be good. Anyway, so what were your initial reactions, thoughts?
Well, at first, I thought it was a joke. I thought because again, it's like anything, right? It's the Oscars. You've got Chris Rock, who's a comedian. Right. Will Smith is also, he's known for being funny, and so it looked fake. The slap
looked fake.
It looked like stage combat, right? At best. And so I was kind of like, okay, wait, what? Okay, he did that. And the first thing that I thought about was because, and I know you didn't know about this because I know I told you about it, was in 2016, I think it was, when the Oscar So White situation, Jada Pinkett Smith had said, well, we're not going to the Oscars this year. We're going to boycott the Oscars or what have you. And Chris Rock made a joke about it saying, Jada Pinkett Smith saying she's going to boycott the Oscars is like me saying I'm going to boycott Rihanna's panties. No one invited me.
Right.
So, you can't boycott what you haven't been invited to, right? So my initial thought was that this was kind of like maybe something that they had worked on together, like a we're going to do this. And then I'm going to go out and, be the husband and, and then we're going to make a little skit out of it and move it along. Right. No, that was not what happened at all.
I think that's what everybody initially thought.
Right. Especially Lupita.
Oh,
our friend Lupita.
Cuando le robaron el vestido. But because I mean,
so much happened in such a quick amount of time.
Yes. I mean, I was like you. I when that first happened, I was like, wait, this is real? I mean, how did this happen? Like, this is clearly an act because
right.
Will Smith wouldn't do that,
and he doesn't have a history of being
Will Smith
that violent
is
person,
a nice guy, like,
right?
He's
jovial.
That's what he sort of built his brand on, right? That he's
right.
like a gentleman and he's a nice guy and
he's likable,
he's likable, right? And not in the Oscars, right?
When he's about to win, because we all knew he was a shoo-in.
We did.
It was pretty locked in. I mean, because he'd been winning all the other awards,
right?
So
my first reaction, like yours and like most people, was that it was a skit,
right?
And immediately thereafter, when everybody was like, "Wait, was that real or not?"
Right, and it just went mute.
That's when I went to Twitter.
Yes, thank you, Japan.
Yes, and the thing is that when the audio went out, that was happening, and the audio, they didn't know what to do with the audio. You could tell there was a problem with the audio.
Yeah.
You could tell that in a room somewhere in the cold Dolby Theater, people were running like chickens with their heads cut off, right?
As Nicole Kidman was making a face.
Right. And that's when I was like, oh, okay.
Aquí
pasa algo. There's something here that's not gelling. Yeah. I mean, look. We're 5 days into this.
Yeah, so everybody's made opinions already.
Everybody has opinions. I have an opinion about people having an opinion.
Okay, well, we can explore that.
Because like I think it's been so overly like
analyzed.
Yes, and there's people saying that it's misogynistic. There's people having to say that it has to do with race, and racial undertones and all that. I mean, look, at the end of the day, none of us know what was going through his head.
True.
Will Smith.
True.
At the end of the day. We don't know if he's going through something.
Right.
And a second ago I said that this seems very out of character for him. It does
based on what we know.
Based on what we know his public persona.
Right.
But we don't know him privately. right? Because that's the thing. When you know a celebrity for many years and you feel you know them, but
especially when they start off as a TV star because they are in your home every week.
Right. But again, Will Smith has built a brand on being a nice guy.
Sí.
Right?
Sí, buena gente.
So you think you know him.
Right.
But you don't know how these people are in their real life. You don't know what's going on between him and Jada. Maybe you don't know what demons he's fighting, you know?
Right.
Because he clearly he snapped.
Something happened.
Yeah.
Because again, this is not something that happened.
Snap.
He's not Kanye.
Because in retrospect, he the following day could have, instead of reacting the way he did, he could have said, made a statement and say, "Hey, Chris Rock, what you did was not funny. My wife suffers from alopecia, which
I didn't know, by the way,
which is an illness and it affects X amount of people, and you shouldn't attack people like whatever."
Right.
And he would have made Chris Rock look like an ass, right? But
he didn't.
The joke that Chris Rock did about the G.I. Jane reference was very in line with the type of comedy that Chris Rock does, which you cannot like. You could either like or not right? Sometimes I think that Chris Rock se la pasa un poco, but that is his brand of comedy, right? And there's an audience for that,
everything,
and that's fine. I just think that I don't think it's as deep as many people are trying it to be. He just had a very bad day in one of the most public forums in the world. I mean, the only bigger public forum he could have had this in is the Super Bowl or the Olympics. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was one of three.
Right. So, I mean, obviously, what I don't condone what he did. Et se la comió. Right, and everybody's talking about Will Smith, but I think Chris Rock was a victim here. He was the one who got assaulted. I mean, that's what it was. He assaulted him by the legal definition. He assaulted him. Right, and what the fallout should be. That's a different conversation. But I just think. Look, I think also. Here I am, saying I'm over people having an opinion on this, and here we are having an opinion on it.
Well, that's what we do on our show.
Will Smith, more so Jada and their kids, lead very public lives, for better or for worse.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that when you lead a very public life, you put yourself up to a point of scrutiny.
You're open.
That if you're not as public, obviously won't happen. Right. Because you know what? Somebody, let's say like Beyonce and Jay-Z, which are like A+ listers, right? They're very private.
Right.
That doesn't mean they don't get coverage. That doesn't mean they don't have paparazzi.
But they're not inviting people into their home.
Right. And talking about their personal stuff. And if they do, it's through their art.
Right.
Right? Her through her album, through Lemonade, whatever. But Jada Pinkett Smith has been very, very open about things that are very, very private. And you know what? You do you. If you want to talk about that, right.
But then you can't get upset.
Right. But I think that that's also one of the reasons why people, I think, are so opinionated about them, because they feel they know them.
Well, yeah. If you tell me everything about your life, then I have an opinion about because you've told me.
And I think that their kids have been also very out in the open, with Jaden being emancipated at a very young age and Willow being, very out there. I think a lot of people have very strong opinions about their kids. Whether that's right or wrong, that's another conversation. But they're people that are very much in the forefront of a lot of conversations. So the level of scrutiny that they're subject to is much higher than other celebrities. So when something like this happens, that they are all... I mean, and it's really all of them, right? It's Will Smith who did this, but
he did it because Jada was because of what was said about Jada, and then the kids are obviously affected
because
they're
in the center of this.
Right.
You put yourself in a level of scrutiny that otherwise you may have not been, and that's why so many people feel they have the right to chime in and talk about what's going on. I think about it in a more rudimentary way. Mm-hmm. Chris Rock made a joke that was inappropriate.
Whether you find it funny or not.
I don't necessarily like that type of comedy.
But a
lot of people do.
But it was a lame joke. It wasn't even.
It was a lame joke.
And you said she has alopecia. Again, like I told you, I didn't know that she had alopecia. I just thought she had shaved her head, because again, women do that if they want to, right? But what I find hilarious is on this NPR podcast that I listen to, where one of the hosts literally said that the joke was ableist.
Right.
Listen, I'm not trying to diminish anyone's medical condition, but it's not like if she was in a horrible accident in a wheelchair and he came out and said, "Hey, Jada, can't wait to see your Stephen Hawking's movie."
Right. I mean,
by saying words like, "Oh, that's kind of ableist. Oh, it's it's her, it's her condition." You're elevating. And again, I'm not trying to diminish it. I'm someone who's going bald. At the end of the day, like, it's something that probably affects you personally, pero tampoco no es una condición. It's not cancer.
I mean, look, I think calling it ableist is a bit of a far stretch. Yeah, it's a bit of a far stretch. That's why I say I think too many people are looking way too deep into this.
Right.
I mean, look, there's definitely an issue to talk about misogyny. When men feel they need to defend their women, that a woman can defend herself.
But is that misogyny?
There's people who've talked about it as black on black crime. Obviously, that is an issue that is worthy of conversation. There's I've even seen stuff of people saying that, as a black woman, she's always being joked. Black women. So many people have comments on that. Those are things that are all certainly true.
Right.
I just think that while many of the issues that people have brought up that they say are related to this are certainly very valid issues that are very true.
Right. Have those conversations.
I just don't think that this is that deep. I think that this was a situation that
a husband, his wife was offended, got pissed, and went and hit the guy.
I don't even see it that way.
But I'm saying that's the simplest.
Because they,
thing.
as again, public figures that are so open, they are used to being talked about. Because when she said the whole thing a few months ago about them being in an open marriage and her having an extramarital affair,
entanglement.
I mean, they got a lot of really offensive comments and very nasty comments their way. Which that compared to this. I mean, this was a walk in the park.
Well, and Regina Hall made a joke about the open marriage thing,
right?
And they didn't bat an eye.
So this wasn't a situation where they've been called a lot.
Right.
Things,
this is not the worst you've had to experience. Yeah.
So,
but it could have been la tapa pomo.
I just think that you don't know what was going on in his head. You don't. You don't know, because one moment he was laughing and the next moment he literally snapped.
Yeah.
Like even after he hit him, he was laughing. Right.
Right.
It's not until he got back to his seat that he was like, "Keep my wife's
name out of your fucking mouth."
That it was like, "Oh, this shit just got serious."
Right.
Right. That's when everybody was like, "Oh, this is not a joke."
Yeah. We were all Lupita then.
Right. They said that she should get the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. But yeah, I mean, I just think it was a very bad moment for him. In terms of consequences, look. I don't think he should be have his Oscar stripped
Absolutely
away.
not. Absolutely.
His Oscar was based on the work. And he's done a lot of work, and he deserves an Oscar.
Well, if we're gonna start that route, then let's take away Roman Polanski's. Let's take away Woody Allen's. Let's take away. I mean, like,
this was based. I don't even think about those cases. I think about him.
But I'm saying, if you're gonna start pulling people's Oscars,
this was based on the work. This was voted on before the incident by the Academy.
Sure.
Right? No, they shouldn't take the Oscar away. It's up to Chris Rock, which Chris Rock has not filed charges and said he's not going to. That's his. That's up to him.
But because that's white people bullshit.
Right, but what I'm saying is that he chose not to. Right,
so that's
that
done.
Aspect is done.
Right
now, should the Academy censure him? Maybe for like a year or something. Maybe
not be invited back for
maybe
a couple
for
years.
A year, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I also. I don't know. I keep thinking that there's something else there. And I'm not defending Will Smith. I am not. I think that what he did was terrible. I think it was so cheap. It was such a cheap, cowardly thing to do.
But you know what? But you don't know what's going to set you off at any moment. He's human.
We all have bad days.
He's human.
God knows I have done and said things at certain moments that I'm like, shit, did I just do and say that?
Right.
What the hell is wrong?
And it doesn't matter where you are.
Right. But again, you are in the Oscars. So.
But at the end of the day, they're people.
Yeah. It's back. That's right, everyone. The Youth Fair is back, and 2022 is its 70th anniversary.
Parece mentira. The Youth Fair turned 70 in 2022. Okay, no 70-year-old has ever been this much fun.
That's right. It's got over 120 rides, attractions, and shows. Not to mention our favorite, the food.
Elephant ear, corn on the cob, and some of our newer, soon-to-be favorites like deep fried flan bites and churro s'mores. Anyone?
I can't think past the deep fried flan bites.
I mean, I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah. Así que get to the Youth Fair from Thursday, March 17th through Sunday, April 10th to be part of the celebration. And visit fairexpo.com for more info or tickets. Remember, be there, the fair. With that said, this was rating gold for the Oscars.
Oh, yes.
Yes, this was the best thing that has ever happened.
The
to
worst
the
thing to happen to Questlove and Jane Campion.
Yeah, I felt so bad for Questlove, actually. Questlove is a victim in this because did you see that documentary?
Not yet.
I did.
It's on Hulu, right?
Yes, I did. I love it. It was about this festival,
Summer of Soul.
Yes, in 1969. That it was like this soul music that obviously was very big with the black community, and it was like kind of their
Woodstock for shorthand,
right? Like the archives were lost and stuff like that. So he was trying to bring attention to it. And I don't know if you heard his speech. His speech was like beautiful, how he got choked up talking about his father.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't think a single person in that room heard it. What I do have a problem with, actually, now that we're talking about this, I do have a problem with him getting a standing ovation. Will Smith.
Okay.
Will Smith. Because he got a standing ovation. That, I have more of a problem with that. Now, I don't know if the standing ovation was because
out of fear that they'd come after him,
right? No, but standing ovation is kind of like the wave. It's like, well, everybody else is standing, so
right?
Like,
I gotta stand, yeah, because you don't want to be the asshole who's sitting,
right? But he got a standing ovation, and I don't agree with because Hollywood is very opinionated about violence and Me Too and all that stuff, as they should be. So you're
showing your hypocrisy.
You got to walk that walk and talk that. If you're going to talk that talk, you got to walk the walk, right?
Right.
So that I thought was like, really, we're doing this.
Right.
But yeah, I felt bad for Questlove. I freaking love Questlove.
I love Questlove, and I love that Questlove has been around as long as he has, but we don't stop and think about it as a collective society.
He has, and he's like, his knowledge about music is kind of frightening.
Insane.
Like it's a little like,
It's
my
insane.
god.
Oh my god, who was it? There was a story. Who was it that you were saying who's Questlove or something?
Oh, I did tell you that story of somebody that was like, who's Questlove? And I was like,
who's like an artist?
Yeah, and I was like, what?
They were like, oh, Questlove, whatever, blah blah blah. It's like, but you've been around for 10 minutes. Yeah. Questlove has been around forever.
Actually,
like, how did you?
Let's go to.
This episode might as well be sponsored by Google.
What singer did not know who Questlove was? It was someone.
I remember you like. Because again, I feel like Questlove is one of these people who's just always kind of been around. You may not know the Roots music or songs, but I've just always known of the Roots. Like they've just always kind of been there.
What singer did not know who Questlove was? No, now it's giving me stuff about Questlove Diagnostics.
Oh, well, okay. Well, we're going to go get our blood drawn.
So anyway, that's that. Maybe we could be hosted. Oh, final thing of the Oscars. So thank you to the Academy for honoring in the in memoriam section at Carmen Salinas.
Yes, Agripina,
Mama Agripina. I thought that was great. Obviously, Betty White.
I thought that was an interesting choice just because I only think of her from novelas, just based on my knowledge.
She probably
of her.
did some type of Hollywood, some type of movie and all that. But I mean, the thing we have to remember is that this.
Oh, she's been in the industry for a while too,
right? Because, like, for example, Bob Saget wasn't on it.
Oh, that's right.
Right?
Yeah, right.
So was it only because it's the Academy Awards is for only film?
Well, he's done film.
I imagine that he has to have something.
He did. That one movie, Half Baked, where he talks about sucking dick for crack.
Okay, well, there we go.
You don't know that? That's infamous.
Obviously, in the Emmys, there's probably going to be... Well, in the Emmys, I imagine there's going to be a whole thing on Betty White.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. It has to be. It has to be. I mean, I might as well just call it the Betty White Emmys.
I agree.
I mean, just do it. Like, just listen, we're calling it now. So that when it happens...
Yes. We were on the money again.
Again.
Yes. And Nicole Kidman va a tener frío también.
Va a tener frío.
Yeah.
They'll probably get Sandra Bullock to do the Betty White memoriam.
Because of the proposal?
They seem to have a friendship. Her or Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. Well, they can't get any of the Golden Girls.
Or Mary Tyler Moore Show.
Right.
I have the girls from Hot in Cleveland.
Yeah, but...
I'm just saying, theoretically, if we're going to go that route.
Yeah. So, anyway, what do you have for me?
So, I actually have something that I never thought I'd be talking about. So... I actually have a little bit of, I don't want to use the word praise because I just don't want to. But this week, former John Hughes villain turned Florida governor Ron DeSantis actually did something that I am on his side about.
Wow, this better be amazing because,
Well, he's signing into, oh God, now I have the thing in front of me and now I forgot the sentence where it had it. But basically, they're signing into the Florida curriculum that starting in 2023, their high school students have to take a semester of financial literacy before graduating from high school. And I don't know, I just think that that's a good thing because nowadays you hear about all these people, it's like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't know.
This segment is all you. Go, babe.
Oh, I didn't know. And I think we need to at least expose kids to financial literacy because as you and I both know, and you worked in the housing crisis situation, there are people out there who don't know their ass from their elbow when it comes to finances.
A lot of people.
And I'm not saying that having a class on it is going to remedy that, but I think that if you expose kids the same way that in theory, if you expose them to history and English and math and science, something should stick. At least this is an actual life skill that they're trying to teach as opposed to, I don't know, a non-life skill. I can't think of any right now in high school, but
Do you know what I learned to do in middle school that I had no idea how to do? And it's funny, well, I mean, I'm a good cook, but, well, no, I mean, I didn't make this growing up because I'm Cuban, but was a grilled cheese.
That was the first thing we learned in home ec in 7th grade.
And grilled cheese. They never made grilled cheese for me at home.
Oh, they did for me.
Well, that's because your parents were raised here.
Yeah.
No. Pan con queso and grilled cheese are not the same thing.
No, I want both.
No. No. Yeah, it's not the same thing. I mean, look, financial literacy is very important, and I'm glad that they're putting it in schools. I'm not going to praise that person.
Well, but I mean, look, you yourself like to say that, we are, what is it? I can't think of any words today. I think I'm so.
When somebody that we don't agree with does something good, we
acknowledge it. Okay, we acknowledge the good. Not the person,
okay,
but
yes, that is a good thing to do. That is a good thing.
Now,
to do.
With that said, it's the same week that a whole bunch of other shit is happening.
Right. So it's like very hard for me to put that on the balance.
Right.
On the scale.
Right. Although he also got dealt 2 blows this week.
Tell me.
They filed. There's already been a lawsuit filed for the "Don't Say Gay" and the federal judge with regard to the voting restrictions that have been implemented.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
So, wow, that's great. That's awesome.
Do you think you? Because let me tell you something. I passed economics by the skin of my teeth in high school.
Do I think I learned something from it?
Because I didn't. I'd rather learn about financial literacy than economics.
Well, I mean, you asked the wrong person. Government economics was my jam.
Government is one thing. I'm talking about the economics side of things.
I knew what the difference between macro and microeconomics was in 12th grade.
You did?
I did. I freaking loved economics. I did a whole presentation on the supply and demand curve at 16 years old.
You did?
Oh, did we just meet?
We had that class together. You did that? No, you didn't do that in that class.
We didn't have that class. We did have that class.
We did have that class together.
Yes, we had to do a whole thing on the supply and demand curve.
Yes, you, me, and our other friend had that class together, and she had that microscopically wonderful cheat sheet for the final.
Yes, but she was in second period. We were in 5th.
Oh, that's right. She was in second.
Yes. We. That was AP.
AP economics and government economics.
Actually, you know what? Let me ask you something. I think this is something our listeners would enjoy.
I'm listening.
If you were to go back to high school,
okay,
would you take AP again? Or honors or things like that?
I would. I would, because I think the classes are probably a little smaller, so there was that. I actually enjoyed the fact that we kind of saw the same people over and over again. So you were able to have friendships and things like that.
Speak for yourself.
Well, you and I had all the same classes together, most of them.
Senior year, I had English, government economics, and 5 periods of yearbook. So
That's true. Yeah,
I was the editor-in-chief of the yearbook.
No, but I think I would. I just, because I like to think of myself, whether I am or am not, is a different story. But I like to think of myself as intelligent and smart. And I think that I just would function better in a class like that than in a class that would have a mix of people who are always trying to like be the class clown and all that. I just don't think I function in that class.
Interesting.
You wouldn't do it?
Probably not, because I think that from the perspective of somebody who already went to college and grad school and all that, but I mean, it doesn't have to be my same trajectory. Anybody that just is on the other side of high school. I agree with everything that you said about it being a smaller classroom, and I think a lot of times, in high school especially, sometimes depending on, I've always said this, even as somebody who went to college and law school and all that, the best teachers in my life that I had are still a select few of my high school teachers, right? Those are the people that
kind of mold you,
shaped me and molded me, and you too. So we had very positive experiences, but we also had teachers that didn't care.
God, there were,
and I get it. They were at the end. They were like done. They were on their way
they had
out.
3 years left.
And they were like, yeah, whatever. So I get it, and as a 14 or 15-year-old person in algebra 2, let's say, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that my teacher is not teaching.
Right.
But in retrospect, it's like, wait.
Shit.
Like, you're not teaching anything, right? And you should have. So I understand that argument, and that's likely more to happen in, let's say, a regular class than an honors or AP class.
Yeah, because in the honors and AP classes, even the kids who are quote-unquote jerks want to learn.
Right. So there I do agree with you. The reason I say that if I went back is, and I mean, this is true about you as well, is high school for me, when we're talking solely about academics here, high school for me was a lot of work, just like you too.
Yeah.
I had all honors and all AP. And I think about it now and I'm like, should I really have put myself through that stress? Right? Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, you're still going to go to college. And I think your college, because what's the reason people take AP? Oh, because they could get college credit.
Right.
Right. But I'm like, okay, so you go into college with 20 credits. Okay, so now you're going to graduate faster and you're going to go through that whole experience faster. Like, is it really worth it?
Right.
Because I always, when I hear people say that they're so in a hurry to graduate high school and get through college, I'm like, really? So you're going to have a bachelor's degree at 20?
Well, what about the people who did the last 2 years of high school, like at Miami-Dade?
Or you're going to have a bachelor's degree at 19? Like, I think there's certain things that come with maturity.
Yeah, you're right.
Come with age.
You're right.
And when you're in your late teens, early 20s, a year or two is a whole world of difference.
Yes.
You're not the same at 22 that you are at 20. You're not the same at 18 than you are at 20. You're the same at 33 than you are at 35. You're the same at 40 than you are at 42. But in those formative years, it's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. And I think that speeding up the process, I've never really understood as an adult the reason to speed up the process so much.
Well, but that's a typical kid thing, right? Wanting to grow up. Oh, I don't want to be a kid. I want to be a grown up.
But that's why I say that in retrospect. Right. I don't know if I went back to high school. I don't know if I would, because I remember.
I think you would.
I probably would
because you like to be challenged.
I do like the educational challenge.
Right.
That's why I said that. Like, I do like that. But then I think about like all the work that we did, which was a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm like, is it worth it?
I mean, you could make that argument, but I also would say that, again, you and myself, we like to be challenged. And we also didn't miss out. Like, I know it was a lot of work, and I know, we put a lot of effort into it, but we didn't miss out on the high school experience either as a result of that. So
what I'm like, the bigger conversation and the bigger topic is like, in high school, especially when you get to high school, you have so many parents that are like, you have to be in sports and you have to be the best athlete and you have to have the best grades and you have to be in this and you have to be in that. And that all sounds great. right? And in theory it is. And that's going to help you in college and all that. I get it. I mean, I went through that. I am the product of that. But I sometimes wonder, is it worth it? Because you know, when you graduate high school, even in college is fun and all that stuff, but there is a certain amount of level of stress in college that you don't have in high school.
Well, especially because you're on your own. You're an adult.
But even if you live at home with your parents.
No. Sorry. I meant on your own in terms of like the professors they'll give you a syllabus and that's it.
Right. You are on your own. And now, like, the grades have a financial repercussion because if you fail a class,
you gotta pay.
You have to take it again and pay. So there's a financial aspect to it, right? So that's something that, like, I think sometimes that, you know,
the stress is probably worse now. Yeah. Think about how much more competitive it is to get into colleges.
You know, because, like, for example, I'm going through that right now with Tristan because he may or may not be in the gifted program, and I'm thinking, like, do I really want him to be in the gifted program? Like, is he going to be in that program just because he's going to be in the program? And my kid isn't gifted.
Well,
right?
what is he going to get? I was in the gifted program.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Is he going?
What are they offering? Is my question.
Is he going to be challenged? And is he going to be presented with opportunities that he wouldn't have if he wasn't in that program? Right? Is he going to have, you know, classes and different things,
experiences,
like you know, robotics, for example, is very big in his school because his school is a STEM school. Is he going to be able to channel that and go that route, even, you know, because he's in that program versus if he wasn't, or is he just going to get more work?
Right. I mean, I know that when I was...
Because if it's a situation that he's just going to get more work, which a lot of times in these programs it is, they just give you more work.
Right.
What is he going to get out of that other than the stress of having more work? And I think that the older you get, and every generation says this, but there is a certain truth to it that the generation before you, especially the generation before, there was less stress than the current generation.
Oh, for sure.
You know, our parents used to say that about our generation, that we had stresses that they didn't have. We say that now about kids.
Right.
Like, they have stresses that we didn't have. Right. And there's a certain truth to that. Of course there is. Right? And I think, like, is it really worth it to, like, put so much on a kid's plate? It's a balance between that and challenging them, because you do want to challenge them. Right. And you do want to get the best out of them, but it's a challenge. It's a balance act.
I don't know what elementary excuse me, I don't know what elementary school gifted programs are like now, but when I was in elementary, twice a week I would go, instead of going to Royal Palma, I'd go to Tropical.
Yes, we know this
because they had
until Darwin.
Oh, did I?
Yes, you did.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah,
but it was cool because those classes that we had over there, it was like marine biology and, you know, and reading this, you know, book and then make a play out of it and write your own little newspaper. So it was like, if it's something like that, I think that there's something to that prevents a kid who is a certain level of intelligence from getting bored, you know, and also exposing them to things that, look, your average teacher who's got 40, 50 kids in a classroom doesn't have the time to sit there and be like, let's learn about this, when they've got a curriculum breathing down their neck.
I mean, I guess it's different, but I think about that all the time, because, like, in school I was, like, so involved in so many things, like, especially like in 11th, 12th grade, I wouldn't get home from school until like 6, 7 o'clock, and I'm thinking, like, but why?
Well, because of the yearbook.
Well, yeah, no, and people. So, listeners, I was the editor-in-chief of the yearbook, pero no es por nada. My yearbook kicked ass.
You've said this many times on the show.
Yes,
you
have.
I have. You have.
My yearbook was like the best yearbook at Southwest.
No, sí, estaba tan bueno que he left it bankrupt.
But it was worth
it. He bankrupted the yearbook.
We had like 900 pages. It was good, though.
Hey, I'm not complaining.
I put my heart and soul in that thing. You know, until this day, the yearbook, our senior year yearbook, the one that I was the editor-in-chief of, is still one of the things I'm, like, the proudest of. Till this day. No, it is, because, like, I felt like I understood the assignment.
Yes, before that was a thing. Yeah.
I understood the assignment. I understood that, like, from a very young age, that the yearbook is just more than, like, getting it at the end of the year and being like, oh my God, I'm in that picture, and oh my God, I'm in that picture. I understood that eventually will be your biggest link to your high school memories.
It's your memory, yeah.
Right? Is that book. So I really took it, well, you remember, very seriously. Like, very seriously, and that's why it was as good as it was.
Yes. This is our 25th anniversary, right?
We don't talk about numbers.
I'm okay with it.
We have anniversaries.
Well, yes, 25th anniversary, yes.
We don't talk about Bruno and numbers.
There are people who don't make it to the 10th.
If you didn't make it to the 10th, pobrecito.
That's what I'm saying. Listen, we know people who didn't make it.
Yeah, we know people who didn't graduate high school. Well, although graduating, okay, so high school dropout thing was an 80s thing, right?
Well, that's back when you had to graduate high school in order to get a job.
Right, because I remember...
Like a high school diploma carried weight.
I remember when we were kids, I'll never forget the commercial of Johnny. That Johnny dropped out of high school and he bought a car.
And now the car doesn't work and neither does Johnny.
You remember? And then Johnny was by the car, the broken car.
Oh my God, I haven't thought about that and I don't even know how long.
Johnny, that commercial also looked like a Bugle Boys jean commercial.
I pulled that that tagline out of my ass right now. I don't know how.
And without a high school diploma,
neither does Johnny.
The car doesn't work and neither does Johnny.
Oh my God.
I feel that dropping out of high school was such a thing in the 80s and early 90s. By the time we graduated high school, it's like everybody graduated high school.
Because I think nowadays, again, it's a foregone conclusion. It's like if you want to be able to compete in the workforce,
I mean, look, I know there's still...
You need at minimum a high school diploma.
There's still marginalized communities at, high school.
Well, we're speaking from our
graduation
experience,
rates.
of course.
Are low and that's still definitely a problem. But I feel that at one point it was like an even bigger like mainstream problem.
Yeah.
That people just
were dropping out
left and right of high school.
Yeah. I feel like our class, everybody that I knew graduated anyway.
Yeah.
But then again, we were AP and honor students. So
Well,
I can't imagine somebody who's an AP and honors like that last month just being like, I'm dropping out.
Yeah. No, but like, I mean, we saw everybody we were in school with. Like, I can't recall many people, if at all, that's like, oh, did you hear que fulana dropped out of high school?
I'm thinking back, and I
even can think of there are several people in our high school experience that were pregnant,
but I remember them being there.
They came back.
Yeah.
They had their baby and came back.
They had their baby and came back. Yeah, as one does.
So, man, good thing this is not our last show.
I know. Thank you for listening. We're talking about high school pregnancy.
High school pregnancy. Well, that's not something we could be experts on.
No.
I thought you were going to go and say something about High School Musical. And I'm like,
well, that I could be an expert on.
Oh, you lost me there. I do know that one song.
Which one?
What time is it? Summertime.
Oh, it's from high school too.
We're on vacation.
Yeah.
And this guy's shirt that says, what is it? I major in vacation?
I majored in vacation, I think, yeah.
Well, I don't know why I know this.
I think it's because they just were running that promo left, right, and center.
Right.
So that was just inescapable. And that was during the time that we were too old for Disney Channel, but still watching Disney Channel.
Says who?
Demographically speaking.
Okay, demographically speaking. What is on the Disney Channel now?
Raven's Home.
iCarly? No, that's Nickelodeon.
And that's the reboot. The sequel of that is on Paramount Plus. I can only say Raven's Home because that's the only thing I would watch.
And Raven Simone has been doing media this week for Raven's Home. So
so it's back.
Yes.
Okay, it's back.
Okay.
I don't know what else is on.
The Jonas Brothers don't have some show.
They did way back when.
Right.
Not now that they're like in their 30s. They're as old as Baby thought she'd be in Spice World.
30. Wow, why don't we know what's on? I feel that you should know.
You're the one with the kid.
Right, no, but you should know. These are the things that you should know.
I knew up until like about 2 years ago.
Wait,
when they had like Gravity Falls. There was a lot of cartoons.
Victoria
Gravity Falls.
Justice? No, Victoria.
Victorious, which starred Victoria Justice.
Wait, wasn't Victoria? No, that's Victoria Principal from Dallas.
Wow. Okay, wait. Now I want somebody to somehow redo all the clips from Victorious, but with Victoria Principal's face so that it's her and like Ariana Grande singing.
Victoria Principal was so beautiful.
Okay, but Victoria Principal, and even in Dynasty, yeah, I don't know mujer.
Yeah, she was a full blooded woman.
To put her head on all the Victoria Justice clips from Victorious.
Okay.
Where she's in high school?
Wait, which was the one Ariana Grande did? The redhead?
Victorious.
No, she did Cat and... Jane Odo.
Sam and Cat.
Cat and Sam and Cat.
Sam and Cat was a spin-off of Victorious and iCarly because they were both the best friend characters.
Okay, there we go.
Yes.
I mean,
I now understand why you expected me to know.
right.
Yeah.
There we go. I remember Ariana Grande with the red hair.
Yeah.
And I remember she played like an airhead, sort of.
Yeah. Total
And
dance.
what I was totally into was Demi Lovato's show.
Sunny with a Chance?
Yes, because I loved Mackenzie Falls. That I told you when Demi Lovato left that show, Mackenzie Falls should have been a spinoff.
Instead, they made it about they basically did the sketch show that she was on.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. What was the name of the character?
The guy?
Yes.
Oh my god, it was something.
It was like Chad Michael.
It was like a Chad Michael Murray type situation.
One of those things.
Yeah. Mira people had 3 names in the 90s.
Yeah, they did.
And early 2000s.
Yeah, the aughts.
Well,
The
in
aughts.
late 90s, early 2000s, because, you had Jonathan Taylor Thomas was the starter of all that.
JTT.
Right, and then you had Chad Michael Murray, and I don't know.
You ran out of them?
I ran out of them, but I know there was more. I feel
Brian Austin Green.
Brian Austin Green. Damn it, I know there was more of them. Why can't I think of, every time I put myself on the spot, I get
Jennifer Love Hewitt.
That's true. Jennifer Jason Leigh was before that, but yeah, it's like all these 3 names.
Wow. So yeah, I'm glad we didn't get canceled. Well, the great thing about our show, we can't get canceled.
Oh no, I mean, well, not by a network. I mean, I guess we could say something stupid and get canceled, but not.
That is true.
Not by a network.
That is true. Really, what this week was very sad to hear was about Bruce Willis.
Yeah, it was upset. Like between Bruce Willis and the kid from The Wanted.
Yeah.
Like, man.
What is it? Aphasia? That Bruce Willis has.
Is it aphasia or alopecia?
No, it's not alopecia.
No, I know it's not alopecia. I know we already had that happen earlier this week.
But basically, he's retired from acting because of he has this disorder,
aphasia,
right? And it has an effect on his cognitive abilities. When the news of that came out this week,
is that like a precursor or some type of symptom with that is tied to dementia?
I don't know,
because the way they made it sound, it seems as if though basically, in a nutshell, he loses his ability to communicate. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't say anything about dementia.
Then I heard somebody today say on the Today Show, ironically enough, I heard somebody saying that there is treatment for it and it can be reversed to some extent, which usually is not the case with like dementia-like conditions.
Mental situations.
But regardless, that was a hard one to hear. And when I heard that this week, I started thinking, I can't think of what was his last public appearance.
Well, he wasn't at the 28th anniversary of Pulp Fiction on the Oscars, and now we know why.
Oh.
Which is a stupid thing to celebrate. Who celebrates 28?
Well, they probably had them all together. It's funny because when John Travolta came out in Pulp Fiction and the whole Pulp Fiction thing, I'm thinking like, well, he embraced the baldness.
Yeah. Listen, at some point you have to.
I guess.
I mean, what are your options? Either keep denying it and wear a wig, or just embrace it?
John Travolta has a lot of money, so he has a lot of options.
Yeah, but
I mean, he could, I don't know, get hair transplants, get good wigs, get good hair pieces. John Travolta has options.
If someone we know could get a hair transplant,
John
then
Travolta,
John Travolta
it happens to me every time. But I've heard that it happens to a lot of people. Whenever I see him dancing, I immediately think like, oh, he dances good, and then I'm like, oh,
hello.
I'm like, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't think of John Travolta as a dancer, but he is, right?
Well, I do, because Saturday Night Fever is one of my favorite movies. So I always,
of course, it is.
It's a great movie.
Of course, it is.
Have you ever seen it?
I don't need to.
Okay, so I'm gonna have comments and
Which is
opinions
the one
about
the paint can.
That one's Saturday Night Fever.
That he's walking down the street in a paint can?
Saturday Night. No, he's not walking in a paint can.
With a paint can?
Yes.
Wait, Saturday Night Fever is the one with the Bee Gees.
Yes.
Okay, I like some of those Bee Gees songs. Some.
But it's not about that. People look at it and think of it as just like a disco movie. It's a coming of age movie that happens to take place, in a disco era type situation, but it is a great movie.
I imagine that your coming of age biopic would be at a disco.
At minimum.
Yes. Yes, I think it would be. Right?
Lots of platforms.
Yes. Even as a movie buff that I like to watch movies, that's never been I mean, obviously I know the famous scenes of that movie, and I'm sure I've watched most of it on TV, but no,
You know what?
thing.
I'm going to reinstate movie night, and I'm going to bring Saturday Night Fever.
Oh, really?
And you know what? You're giving me that face, and as I always say, I guarantee that afterwards you're going to be like, wow, that was a really good movie. Like, it's not what I thought it was going to be.
That's how I felt when I saw Hair. The movie.
Yes, I assumed as much.
Yes, when I saw Hair.
Just Hair in general.
Yeah. Like I saw Hair, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago. I was like in my 30s.
Right.
That I saw Hair, and I was kind of like, this movie's bad, but like it's actually good. And at the end, I kind of got choked up.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what's funny about Hair in particular? I like that Age of Aquarius. I freaking love that song.
It's a great song.
And the other one,
Let the Sun Shine.
I like that song too. Like, what is wrong with me? Like,
nothing, because these are great songs.
right, but that's not very, in line.
Great
with
is great.
me,
Great is great.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Right. But yeah, that movie was like good. Like, and at the
was
end when they're like, they see his tombstone, I was like, oh, he died, because I didn't know anything. Actually, you know where I knew Hair from? Head of the Class.
Head of the Class, yeah.
Yeah. The episode, that's where I knew the songs from.
Yeah, that Alex plays the soldier.
Yeah. So did you see that? Did you guys see that reboot? Head of the Class?
Didn't.
It wasn't good.
It totally passed me by.
Yeah. And I felt that it wasn't great. So anyway, do you have anything else for me?
I don't have anything else. It was a short week. I think this week the air got sucked out of it by Will, Jada, and Chris.
Well, they're still talking about it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think the air just got sucked out of the room by the Oscars, and left poor Nicole cold and shivering.
La friolenta. Is that what we're gonna call her now? If somebody in Hollywood would be friolenta, is her,
right?
Yeah.
Like, I could see her constantly.
Kathy Bates is not friolenta.
No. Kathy Bates al contrario.
Meryl Streep is not friolenta.
Meryl Streep kind of goes with the flow.
Yeah.
I could see her being just like, just give me a sweater. We'll be fine. Like, an Afghan.
Yeah.
But I could see Nicole Kidman coming onto set and having problems with the thermostat.
Yeah.
Like, and not even like in a bitchy way, just she's cold.
Yeah.
Like, she'd just be like, I'm sorry, what is the temperature here? Like, can we keep it at like a nice 77?
Because I'm very cold.
Very cold.
It's not this cold in my native Australia.
No, yeah, exactly. She lives in that country where things are warm.
Yeah. To believe that she's really American.
Because she was born in
Hawaii.
Hawaii, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the opposite of Mel Gibson.
Right. Mel Gibson was born in Australia.
But raised in the U.S. Yeah.
And she was born in the U.S. but raised in Australia.
Yeah.
And Kathy Lee Gifford was born in Paris.
And raised in the U.S.
In, I don't know, Chattanooga.
I would believe she's from Chattanooga.
Where is Kathy Lee Gifford from?
She's Southern, isn't she? Southernish?
I feel that we should know this.
I think she's from one of those southern states that's in the South, but not really the South.
Like Missouri?
Yeah. Like, like that. Hold on. I'm literally looking this up right now.
I love the episode of references.
Her Wikipedia is great. Kathy Lee Gifford is a French-born American. That's how it starts. Oh, she's the same birthday as Madonna.
August 16th.
Where did she grow up? Let's see. She grew up in Maryland.
Okay.
I could see her having lots of crab.
Okay, now that we're on the subject of crabs, I think it's time for our last soda.
I was gonna say, where is this going? I don't even want to know what the subject is if we've got on crabs.
So you want to go?
I can go first. So my last soda, has a little bit of an intro. So there's a show on Netflix called Big Mouth. It's an animated show. It's a crass show, but it's about a bunch of kids in middle school growing up, and they're going through all of the puberty changes, and they each get assigned like different, depending on their hormones and emotions, they have different monsters that show up. So there's like a hormone monster and a shame wizard and a love bug, and helps them go through all these things. And it's super vulgar. It's hilarious. Check it out. But recently, they did a spin-off of the show Big Mouth, and it's called Human Resources, and it focuses on all the monsters because, you know, apparently all these monsters, they work for like this company that, you know, that's their job is to be, you know, the hormone monsters and whatever's for humans. So my favorite standout character so far, and she's not even one of the main characters, but she is the standout character for me, is played by Rosie Perez. Mm-hmm. And her name is Petra the Ambition Gremlin.
Oh, okay.
And it is perfect. It is picture like the gremlin, like the female gremlin from Gremlins 2, but in a power suit with the voice of Rosie Perez.
Okay.
And I love that her name is, everybody calls her Petra, but you know, in my mind, I always hear Petra.
Petra.
It's Petra. Petra the Ambition Gremlin. And I just want you to picture Rosie Perez's voice in that Rosie Perez way as an ambitious, take no prisoners gremlin.
Wow.
So that's my last soda is going to Rosie Perez as Petra the Ambition Gremlin.
That is great. That is the best thing I've heard today.
You should look it up. You should look it up. Ah, mira. You know, she wore a crop top and a skirt. No, stop the presses.
¿De quién tú hablas?
Esta.
Are you talking about Zendaya?
Yes.
Why do you hate Zendaya?
I don't hate Zendaya, but it's like everybody's like, oh my God, what she wore on the red carpet was the best look of the night. I'm like, okay, she wore a pretty skirt and a crop top. She looks lovely.
She looks good.
She looks lovely, but I don't know that I'd be like, you know, falling all over myself. And then, you know, she said that she did her own makeup, which is great. And people are like, you know, one more reason to love her. Why? Because she knows how to find a tutorial.
Okay. We're not going to hate on Zendaya.
I'm not hating on Zendaya. I've said this many times. I'm saying this many times. I don't hate on Zendaya. I have an issue with the fact that, you know, ella puede salir con, you know, vestida en tres mojones, and people will be like, oh my God, look how she's upcycling human waste.
Okay, I'm going to move on to my last
Yes.
soda, and it'll be short and sweet. I'm actually going to give my last soda. It's the second time I give her the last soda, but I'm going to give it to this past week's interview with Gina Torres.
Miss
So
Gina.
I'm going to give my last soda to Gina Torres.
Have you come to terms with the fact that happened yet?
I haven't. I told you yesterday when I was listening to the interview that, you know, I can't believe we actually interviewed her. Not only because I'm such a fan of hers, and I am a fan of Suits, but the fact that when you and I started the show, I told you I wanted Gina Torres. Well, no, I didn't say I wanted Gina Torres on the show because I was like, Gina Torres will never come on this show. Like, I mean,
The ambition wasn't even that high.
right? No, there wasn't even ambition.
There
'cause
was
I
no
like,
Petra.
right? I was like, she's not coming on this show, right? I mean, Gina Torres, like, especially somebody who's like an up end of her career, like she's like,
Yeah, she's having the moment, right?
yeah, she's been having a moment for a time, but she's like, you know, she's not a D-lister, she's like an A-lister, right? Like, I'm like, she's not gonna be on our like. One thing is a dream, another thing is delusion, right? Like, she's not gonna be on our show. And the fact not only was she on our show, but she was so lovely, and you could tell it was so genuine.
Yeah.
You know, that she really enjoyed speaking to us. And like, when it was happening, I was kind of like, okay, you know, whatever. But then after,
Did you kind of dissociate while it was happening, just to get through the interview, sort of?
well, yes, because I didn't want to be also like,
Right.
like a fanny, like
fanboying, yeah.
fanboy, like, oh my God. And I think I kept my composure.
You did.
Because if not, it would have been the Suits interview, right? But the fact that she was on it, and you know, in large part thanks to you, and like it was like another moment, you know, to go back to what we were saying at the beginning of the show where we were pulling the April Fool's prank, that, you know, we've been so fortunate that this podcast and this platform has given us opportunities that a few years back we didn't have. And speaking to her and to some of the people that we've spoken to, because as I said, you know, we're very fortunate to interview a lot of people, but we're not necessarily like fans of, like personal fans of them.
Right.
You know,
we think they're great.
We think they're great, and we want to bring them on the show because they have something to say, and it's something that we want to extend on our platform. But maybe not somebody that like
we
I'm
grew
a huge
up
fan on.
Right.
But Gina Torres is somebody that I watch like almost every day, watching Suits, because Suits is one of these shows that I always have in the background, right?
Yeah.
And here I was talking to Jessica Pearson, you know, like, oh, like, so what's up, Gina? Oh, you want to say hi to my son? Like, yeah, like, you know, and it happened. So, you know, my last soda to her.
Awesome. She's very deserved.
She is. So anyway, with that said, so we will be back next week, people.
Yes, y'all. We will be back.
We will be back. Thank you, as always. Feliz Día de lo... No Día de Inocente. Happy April Fool's
Day. Yeah.
Ay, in 15 days, you got to pay your taxes.
18.
Oh, they extended it this year?
Yeah.
Okay, well, whatever. I always file an extension. So anyway, everybody...
I already paid my... I already did it. I got my refund. I spent the refund already.
Okay, well, aren't you fortunate? Anyway, we hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Cuídense.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.